Welcome back to Just Chattin. And this is the series of videos we do on Thursday and Sunday evenings just for our own entertainment. So for all you Audie fans, my bad boy is, he's right across the room from me. He is sleeping in his second favorite chair on his first favorite blanket because I figured I had to throw him a bone. This is his first favorite chair, the one behind me. So his favorite blanket used to be on this chair. Now it's over on another chair, his second favorite chair. But he is right here. He's not asleep. He is just looking at me like he expects me to do something for him. Because he's a cat, and all cats expect you to do something for them. So I think there's probably a better than even chance we'll see him show up in the video. But he is right here. He is doing fine. Now we're going to just take a quick break for the intro, and we will be right back. So, we have quite a bit of gossip emanating from Montecito. Yeah, I know. Bad smell coming in from the west. So let's start small and work our way up, because in the midst of all this gossip, we actually have one verifiable fact. So let's start with the sock puppet, because apparently, in light of the putative child Archie's putative 7th birthday, the sock puppet is bemoaning the fact that his putative children are not able to have good, close, bonded relationships with the wider family. My head starts reeling at this point. Have you forgotten, Harry, you are the one who left them, not the other way around. You're the one who walked away. This is what happens when you do that. And beyond that, they have plenty of relatives on the Markle side. Nutmeg had a brother and sister. They have children. Those children may well have children who would be age appropriate for the putative Sussex children to be playing with. And there is then the entire Raglan clan that got erased from the tabloids too. It's just they don't exist. So, I don't know. I mean, I marvel that he is, oh gosh, he's just so stupid. He can stand up and say something like this and not expect people are going to call him out on it. Harry, you did this. Stop whining about it. Lord. Another bit of rumor about Harry, and I came across this in context of another story, which we will get to, and that is that he has been severed from the staff of BetterUp. And this is a rumor that has been getting some credibility. I've heard the rumor from some credible sources. However, I do have to say this. I looked up BetterUp's website, and he is still listed as their head chimp. So I guess that means he is either still there, or conversely, that they have separated from him in such a way that they are going to permit him to remain on the website for a period of time. They are not like striking his name from the pillars and the obelisks. And that's possible. Companies do often do that. That is not unusual as part of a severance package. It's not in the common scope of things, but it's not unheard of that someone might be able to maintain the semblance of a position with a company for a period of time to enable them to transition smoothly to something else. Of course, the problem with the sock puppet is there's nothing else for him to transition to. But I do have to say that the evidence available at the moment indicates that he is still associated with BetterUp. So now keep in mind, like I said, the sources for this rumor are pretty reliable, but given the fact that he's still on the webpage of BetterUp, I am going to have to say, no, this is probably not actually happening, or if it is, it hasn't happened yet, and we're talking about something in the future. The next rumor, which is more nutmeg than the sock puppet, although frankly, the sock puppet would have to play his part, and that is that Nutmeg is planning on renewing her wedding vows on reality TV. Well, that doesn't surprise me. It's not like I'm saying, oh, what a shock this is. I am not. I think Nutmeg would sell her very soul if she could find a buyer, and if she had a soul to sell. But, forgive me for that one. But do I think she would do it? Of course. Absolutely. Do I think anybody will pay her to do it? There's the rub. So this is one of those rumors that I'm going to call 60-40. I would say I'm about 60% convinced there's nothing to this, and it's just something being thrown out by the Sussex camp in their quest to keep their names and faces on the front pages, because, they live for that. And I'm probably about 40% convinced that, yeah, they would really like to do this. Now, the reason it's 60-40 going that way is because in order to pull this off, Nutmeg would have to rope the sock puppet into going through a sham marriage with her. And remember, she declared that actual wedding to be a sham. They said it was just a spectacle for the public. Oh no, they were really married in the garden 3 days earlier by the Archbishop of Canterbury. So we know how reliable they are when it comes to these stories. But I will say that one, even for Nutmeg, and believe me, she sets a very low bar. Even for Nutmeg, this is tacky. But yeah, they're throwing it out there. So now let's move over to the one rumor that came out that is, in fact, a point of fact. This is a reality. So Invictus is in deep trouble. Now, what does that have to do with Harry? Well, everything. Because the only thing Nutmeg and the sock puppet have left is her jam and his Invictus. So what's going on with Invictus? Well, let's start with people are looking at the finances, and the look is not good. So, I should mention quickly, there's a YouTuber who did a dive to explore the finances of the Invictus Games in Canada last year. And her name is Rachel, and her channel is Rachel the Curious Pilot. And I mentioned her, well, I alluded to her, I didn't mention the channel name, when I said I had gotten my Yacht Girl Retired baseball cap from Montecito Minimalist. This is the YouTuber who runs that little online shopping venue, and I hope you've checked it out because I'm delighted with my little Yacht Girl hat. So she has a channel, and she started tearing apart the finances. Now, she started this, as I recall, it was close to a month ago, and threw it out there. And now, and I do believe, I have to say, I honestly believe it is as a result of her initial work in this arena. Now people are starting to take a look at it, and mainstream media is starting to quote some of the figures that have come out of Invictus Canada. It's more than $60 million for 500 some odd athletes for 9 days. The bottom line was The estimate, after they did the math, was that the breakdown was that the games cost $118,000 per athlete. Now, frankly, if it were me and I were running the Invictus Games and I saw figures like that, I would say, well, next time around, just give me a checkbook. I will write 500 some odd wounded veterans checks for $100,000 and be done with it, because that's life-changing money, especially if you are living on disabilities and a military pension. So I don't even know how they can justify that, but, they do. But numbers like that, with Invictus costing $60-some million, meanwhile, in the U.S., and we're the ones known for throwing money around, let's not lose sight of that. Same games, Warrior Games over here, $2 million. And apparently it's even less in Australia, in Germany, So, no, this is craziness. And the questions are, where is the money going? How much of this is going directly to Nutmeg and the sock puppet? That's kind of the bottom line. And people are throwing this out. They're openly saying the money is presumed to be going to Harry and Meghan. So, in the wake of this, what we've got is BOEING, who was the major corporate sponsor for Invictus, pulled out just a few days ago. Bang, gone. They lost BOEING. Instead, BOEING is donating their money to a community in Missouri it's an historically black community that is working to clean up their town, like physically clean it up, pick up debris, tear down, demolish buildings that are falling down, that sort of thing. And BOEING is partnering with them, giving them $2 million for it, because I guess helping a community clean up is probably a lot more attractive than helping Nutmeg and the sock puppet clean up in a very different sense of the word. So, as a result of this, and here is the capper, BOEING pulls out of Invictus. Within 24 hours, BOEING stock goes up by 3%. Now, with a company the size of BOEING, because, come on, we've all heard of BOEING. A company the size of BOEING, a 3% increase in their stock price like that, because apparently it was within 24 hours of this decision comes out, stock price shoots up. Well, first of all, it's a very clear message from the shareholders to the company executives that they approve of this. But also, it kind of tells you that a lot of people were delighted to see BOEING sever ties with Invictus. Losing a sponsor of the stature of BOEING is a massive blow to Invictus. It is massive. Is it surprising? No, because in addition to the financial questions that are raised about Invictus, they also have Harry in Steube ousted. Well, no, he attempted to oust Dr. Sophie Chanduka, and then when that didn't happen, he ended up leaving. He was allegedly going to found another charity. That never happened, and he is apparently still the president of Africa Parks and all of the scandals involving the Baku people in Africa Parks. Of course they're going to separate themselves from this man. And I suspect that Steube in Africa Parks might have had an impact on this decision as well as Invictus, because remember, it is a black community in Missouri that they are helping to rebuild. So, yeah, there's a certain racial connection there that I think can't be overlooked because, frankly, in the world of American corporate public relations, that's how it works. It really is. So, are they in support of Harry? No. Is Harry losing sponsors? Yes. And this is a fact. It's a done deal. Boeing is out. They've made the public statements. They've recommitted the funds elsewhere. And they were, by the way, I believe the largest corporate sponsor Invictus had. This could impact the Birmingham Games because Birmingham is a city that is not on a fiscally sound footing and therefore not in a position to absorb the cost of Invictus without a lot of help. And I mean a lot of help. Remember, last games, over $60 million. That's a lot of money for a week. So are they going to be able to pick up the tab? No. Is somebody else going to ride in at the 11th hour? Very, very unlikely. All I can say at this point is Nutmeg is really going to have to sell a lot of gin to make up for this. And who knows, maybe the problems with Invictus will be enough to convince Harry he ought to do a reality show. Oh, gosh, that would be such a disaster. But the fact is, the empire, such as it was, is crumbling. It is in ruins. And the one stable peg in their bizarre little jigsaw puzzle of an empire has started to crumble too. Invictus is probably not going to survive losing a corporate sponsor like Boeing. And I imagine they know this. I imagine the board of Invictus has been sitting around for the last week or so asking themselves, is Harry worth it? Getting rid of Harry and replacing him with a less controversial patron might very well bring them more corporate sponsorship instead of less. So that's what's going on. I thought I would share it with you. I find it fascinating. But, of course, some of it's rumor, some of it's fact, and I think it's pretty safe to say that we can look at this and we can see where these factors are dovetailing with one another, what may lead to what next. And who knows, maybe what I dismissed as a silly rumor about Nutmeg and the Sock Puppet doing a reality show, who knows? You know, if the cupboard is truly bare, that might start looking good to them. All right, that is what I have for you. We are going to take a look at a slideshow on the way out. Thank you for being with us. I hope to see you all next time. And in the meanwhile, have a terrific day.